Hey everybody, your best buddy Basil here. Welcome to the Canary Crime News Talk live stream. It's the pre-stream. We're going to get the show started in just a moment while we wait for all of our friends and loved ones to enter the chat. Who knows where you are? You could be on Kick, could be on Twitch, could be on X, could be on Rumble or YouTube. There's so many places where this streams, so many places where people listen, which makes it absolutely impossible to count all of you. So thank you for being here. We got Equo26 over on the YouTube. Here's the thing. Text message just went out. There's hundreds of people around the country getting text messages from us right now. And it's me. I sent the text message personally, not automated. So if you want to get text messages from me before every show, just text the word Canary to 877-740-3226. That's 877-740-3226. You'll get on the list. I'll text you personally 3 times a week. You can respond. I can't respond back to you, but I will read your responses. There you go. Here's what not to do. I'm seeing here. Somebody texted the number that I just read to you, 877-740-3226, and they wrote, text alert, please. That's not going to work. You got to text the word Canary. I can't put you on the list manually. You have to opt in, as they say. So, 877-740-3226. Excuse me. Text the word Canary. Don't text anything else. Oh, somebody has a lot of stuff. I'll read that later. Okay, other than that, we have to do it. We have to do it, folks. We're in a phase where it must be done. I must pitch to you the Canary Cry Babysitters Club. It is not an option to not do it. So go to canarycrybabysittersclub.com. We are stepping out. We are spending the money to get the kids cared for as in the most professional way possible. Gons lives in Southern California. It's not cheap. It's extraordinarily expensive. We tried setting a budget. Nobody wants to work for that budget. So we got to increase the budget. Thankfully, those who joined the Canary Cry Babysitters Club on the first round, we've been saving up their producership. So we have an extremely limited amount of time that we can afford to do this without getting more people on board. So if you would like to directly contribute to getting Gonza's kids babysat during the show, go to canarycrybabysittersclub.com. canarycrybabysittersclub.com. And look, we're not even asking for free money. What you're doing is you're signing up for the supply drop. You're signing up saying, hey, I get value from the show. I want the show to keep going. And in this case, I want to pay for the babysitter to help the show keep going. That's your producership. As a free gift, we are sending you the supply drop. It's awesome. So I'll be updating some buttons and things at canarycrybabysittersclub.com. There will be more options. I'm thinking some one-time options for those who don't want to sign up monthly. But signing up monthly is what helps us budget the future, so we can make sure that next month those babies can be sat together. We can accomplish the impossible. Blood alone moves the wheels of history. Go to canarycrybabysittersclub.com. All right, let's get going. We got Susie Q14 over in Rumble, Sound 40. What up? Liar Bliss, Malik, Dr. Good.net, Sandra. We've got the whole gang here. AI Gorithm IT is here. Hello. Let's go. Let's get this party started. Maybe.
The world is getting crazier. People are acting more and more insane. The end of the world is tomorrow. Tomorrow. There's only one thing to do when the world is falling apart. Listen to Basil and Gonz as they discuss this week's news and events through the lens of Bible prophecy. You are listening to Canary Crime News Talk.
You're listening to Canary Grind News Talk. Today is December 4th. Whoa, 2023. This is episode number 694, and we are live to tape for Henry Technicus. Signing on from off the grid, Razzle Dazzle. I am your best buddy, Basil, and you are not crazy.
And my name is Gons, director of the Age of Deceit films, your favorite Asian provocateur for Christ, live to tape from California to bring you the best news, which is the gospel message of Jesus Christ, while reporting the egregious with a well-rounded, biblically grounded take on world events and today's emergent phenomena, Woo World Order.
Ooh, that sounds fun.
Mm-hmm. It's not really new, but it's woo. You know, it's all woo.
Sure.
Mystical, fringy, out there, pseudoscientific, superstitious. That's kind of what's happening. So there you go.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, folks, let's get this show on the road. I'm feeling sassy today.
Mm-hmm.
So let's hit that disclaimer.
Listen up, YouTube.
That's right. And just for all the content moderators and censorship managers out there, be they robots or humans, everything you hear on this show comes directly from the mainstream corporate news media. We do not claim to be experts on healthcare, geopolitics, military strategy, corporate law, or the moral and ethical implications of any of these topics, nor do we implicitly or explicitly support or subscribe to any sources or narratives containing misinformation, disinformation, or malinformation, as defined by the Department of Homeland Security. We're good boys. All right, YouTube, we're good boys. That's right, and here's the rundown.
Oh, look, here's Basil.
Let me bring you up to speed.
Well, ding dong, folks. Henry Kissinger has passed away at age 100. We will be exploring, deconstructing, analyzing the way that the media has responded. Might be a little surprising to a few of us, but on top of that, we'll see what his son has to say about the matter, and what does Henry Kissinger have to do with the future technocratic utopia, even after his death. We'll be getting into that at the top of the show. Quick Flippy update going on over there in Israel. Cannot miss it. Very interesting. Then we'll be checking in with the beast system. Could you move biological body to a computer? Don't worry. We have the experts explaining, and they are here to help you move into the future of brain uploads. At the end of the show, a couple of interesting minutes of a wonderful conversation that blew our mind, considering the recent past and the very small amount of people interested in the very big topic of the Nephilim. Nephilim going mainstream in a way you never thought it would before. But first, Gons, our lead stories.
Here we go. New World Order.
We should invite fewer people to be born.
Build back better. Build back better. Blah, blah, blah. Build back better. We will build Babylon better. This time, a new world order.
Henry Kissinger has passed away at the age of 100.
Every American administration.
Don't get to that point pre-World War I type.
Come on, Kissinger.
Thank you to Jonathan F. for that jingle. It's definitely timely that it came in. Good timing. Yeah, so everyone was talking about it. A lot of stuff going on. Rolling Stone calling him a war criminal, and then some mainstream outlets pushing back on it. It's been, I don't know, a little fruitless in my opinion to debate about a guy and his, is he evil? Is he, because Henry Kissinger has been in our world, Basil, of conspiracy people and people looking at alternative history and whatnot, or just looking at the world institutions and the actors therein. Henry Kissinger was always a guy that touted a new world order. Like, it wasn't a mystery. It wasn't like, oh, we're coming up with crazy ideas. No, he was out there saying, like, we must build a new world order. He was saying it for 20, 30 years, so, not, or even longer than that. So it's not so
Gons,
much that,
real quick, before you get too deep, I'm sorry to interrupt.
Sure.
But the record must be set straight.
Okay.
The Kissinger jingle, I don't think was from Jonathan F. That was from producers Marius and B-Dubs.
Oh, you're 100% right. I apologize about that.
That's right.
Why did I say Jonathan F?
Hear ye, the credit for the producers of the Kissinger jingle, so timely
yes.
arriving in our mailboxes, was from producers Marius and B-Dubs.
Marius and
Jonathan
B-Dubs. Thank you. Thank you.
Jonathan F., you're very talented, but we got to give credit where credit's due. Let me just read this real quick, because this was from Marius and B-Dubs.
Yeah.
They say, "Dear Basil and Gons, this jingle has been 2.5 years in the making. We have busy lives, but we are like a dog on a bone with a creative idea. We just needed a reason to finish the job. Basil and Gons audio clips are from CCNT 317. That was a long time ago.
That is a long time ago.
Episodes or so.
Yeah.
From producers Marius and B-Dubs. Thank you very much for the timely Kissinger jingle."
Yes. Thank you very much. Yeah. Thank you for the correction there. I apologize for that. Yeah, I don't know why I said that. It's just me making more mistakes, which seems to be a theme cropping up a lot recently. Just me messing up the show.
Okay.
Continue.
Statistically, though, I mean, we can give you a break. Statistically, any jingle has a very good chance of being created by Jonathan F. He's a very prolific individual.
That's true. Okay. But I wanted to, instead of just talking about what everyone's talking about the last few days with the Rolling Stone, war criminal, and all that kind of stuff, I did want to look at something a little different. So to start things off here, there was a Washington Post article written by David Kissinger. This is Henry's son. This was back in May 25th of this year, 2023. And the article was titled, "Opinion, My Father, Henry Kissinger, is Turning 100. This is his guide to longevity."
This is the topic of like thousands of clickbait articles that I've seen, either emailed or on social or something. It's always like, "Want to live forever?
Yeah.
Well, Henry Kissinger, famous guy, is going to tell you how."
Famous war criminal lives to 100. He will show you all the secrets.
But to actually have his son write an actual article was very suspicious to me.
Yeah.
Like, no way. I'm not falling for this again. I don't want your kidney pills. Whoever's trying to send me kidney pills.
I'm not going to read the whole thing here because we don't have to necessarily dig into everything he talks about. But let's see. Let me just jump in from the third paragraph down. "My father's longevity is especially miraculous when one considers the health regimen he has followed throughout his adult life, which includes
blood."
Yeah, baby blood.
Man, blood of the innocent and the sorrows of third world countries.
Millions of civilians. No, according to his son, the secret here, which includes a diet heavy of bratwurst and Wiener Schnitzel. A career of relentless, stressful decision-making and love of sports purely as a spectator, never a participant. Those are there you go, Basil. There's the key to life, longevity right there. You just eat some
watch
bratwurst.
Sports, eat hot dogs and fried chicken.
And make relentlessly stressful decisions
his son is certainly leaving out the, be one of the most influential, richest guys in the world, get blood transfusions from, young, fresh humans, be hooked into the elite sort of alien technology healthcare system, and not really have a care in the world, and just get to focus on your passions, your hobbies, like murdering everyone you possibly can.
How then to account for his enduring mental and physical vitality? He has an unquenchable curiosity that keeps him dynamically engaged with the world. His mind is a heat-seeking, listen to this, his mind is a heat-seeking weapon that identifies and grapples with the existential challenges of the day. Wow,
well,
son.
That explains a lot of the civilian death.
Yes, it does. Heat-seeking weapon.
Is the heat-seeking weapon.
His brain is the weapon that kills.
If you have a pulse, Kissinger's coming for you.
In the 1950s, the issue was the rise of nuclear weapons and their threat to humanity. About 5 years ago, as a promising young man of 95, my father became obsessed with the philosophical and practical implications of artificial intelligence.
Hey. That's we have something in common with Kissinger, although he's a little late to the game.
A little late.
He should have been tuning in for at least 5 or 6 years longer than that.
Yeah.
there you go. Hey, we have the instincts of a 100-year-old war criminal.
I would love to believe, and this is probably not what happened, but Henry Kissinger's doing his research and he comes across googly-eyed man on internet talking about him.
Mm-hmm.
And then, what is this man saying about me? And then finding out about AI. And then
it's the only explanation.
Going down the rabbit trail.
Feasible. It's Occam's razor.
Yeah.
He had his PR team equipped with all the most fancy technology, sensed through the algorithms and the transcripts of the show that we were making funny versions of his voice on the show, and they wanted to tune in to see if we needed to get drone striked or something. And then he heard about AI. That's how most of these elites get really into this show.
Wait, do not kill him. He's interesting.
Maybe onto something.
As the Thanksgiving turkey was passed around in recent years, he would ruminate about the repercussions of this new technology in ways that occasionally reminded his grandchildren of storylines in the Terminator films. While immersing himself in the technical aspects of AI with the intensity of an MIT grad student, he infused the debate over its uses with his singular philosophical and historical insight. And, talks about how he's a cold realist and yeah, cold-blooded realist,
cold-blooded.
maybe. And then at the end here, last paragraph. I know that no son can be truly objective about his father's legacy. No, I think you can be. I think if you're a son and your dad is Henry Kissinger, you can be like, look, complicated man, did a lot of bad things, made a lot of decisions that killed a lot of people. You can maybe acknowledge that. But I can understand.
The pragmatists out there would say, if you were looking for something to say about Kissinger on the day of his death that wasn't the standard media reaction of war criminal, which we will get into, you could say that he probably was sort of ruthlessly pragmatic.
Yeah.
And cold. As the son of a ruthlessly pragmatic guy, his son should have some ability to be objective, but that's beside the point.
He's probably just as cold. That's why he's like, I cannot be objective about my father because I have been taught to be pragmatic and cold-blooded.
He's a robot.
Yeah. I know that no son can truly be objective about his father's legacy, but I am proud of my father's efforts to anchor statecraft with consistent principles and an awareness of historical reality. This is the mission he has pursued for the better part of a century, using his rare brain and unflagging energy to serve the country that saved his family and launched him on a journey beyond his wildest dreams. So, again, look, son writing a little nice thing about his father, great. But the little insight about AI I thought was interesting. And I thought, has he published anything about this? Has he written on this? And certainly he has. You can go to KissingerGPT.com. And he partnered up with Eric Schmidt, of course, former CEO of Google. I think he's the president of Alphabet. I don't know if he's still there, but we've been tracking him for a few years. And Eric Schmidt was the gentleman who I believe Google observed him at Burning Man.
They brought him to Burning Man.
Yeah, they brought him to Burning Man.
His job interview.
Yeah, to see how he integrates with the crowd and stuff. So yeah, that's Eric Schmidt. And then you have Daniel Huttenlocher, who is a MIT computer science kind of elite guy. And they wrote a paper published on henrykissinger.com titled ChatGPT Heralds an Intellectual Revolution. And this is a very long article, so I won't read all of it. I have some highlights here. To start things off here, generative artificial intelligence presents a philosophical and practical challenge on a scale not experienced since the beginning of the Enlightenment. The printing press enabled scholars to replicate each other's findings quickly and share them. An unprecedented consolidation and spread of information generated the scientific method. What had been impenetrable became the starting point of accelerating query. The medieval interpretation of the world based on religious faith was progressively undermined. The depths of the universe could be explored until new limits of human understanding were reached. Generative AI will similarly open revolutionary avenues for human reason and new horizons for consolidated knowledge. So there you go. This is sort of when I was reading this is like the third or fourth paragraph. I thought, okay, very interesting. He's starting to talk about consolidating knowledge, new horizons of human reason. Where are we headed here? And of course, at Canary Cry News Talk, and we've been talking to guys like Carl Teichert for a long time, the reenchantment, Burning Man is relevant here because that is the the signals of where culture is headed when it comes to this stuff. Further down in the essay, the essential difference between the age of enlightenment and the age of AI is thus not technological, but cognitive. After the Enlightenment, philosophy accompanied science. Bewildering new data and often counterintuitive conclusions, doubts, and insecurities were allayed by comprehensive explanations of the human experience. Generative AI is similarly poised to generate a new form of consciousness. This is Henry Kissinger, guys. Not 100-year-old guy who got into AI, became obsessed with it, saying kind of what we've been saying. Not saying in the sense that it's going to happen as a positive thing necessarily. We'll see what he means by this in a moment, but just tagging along conversations we've had. As yet, however, the opportunity exists in colors for which we have no spectrum and in directions for which we have no compass. No political or philosophical leadership has formed to explain and guide this novel relationship between man and machine, leaving society relatively unmoored. Basil, we were texting when the news came out about Kissinger's death, which I believe was right after either Wednesday's show or it was sometime a few days ago. And you had mentioned how Israel is going to be rudderless now, or Israel policy, I believe is what you said.
Yeah, foreign policy in particular, but yeah, the Israel policy. I mean, Kissinger was the architect of pretty much all American foreign policy, pretty much up until his death. I mean, he was the most influential, his fans might call him a statesman. When it comes to American foreign policy, you can pretty much just blame our entire recent history of foreign policy on Kissinger.
Yeah, and I was thinking, based on what he's saying here, it's not so much that with the death of Kissinger that foreign policy becomes rudderless. He's arguing with AI, the whole society is rudderless, Basil. Who is going to guide us with the policy of man and machine? Nobody stepping up to do it. And then they talk about ChatGPT.
It kind of reminds me of Freud. God is dead.
God is dead.
Quote.
Yeah, very similar.
Because Freud's whole point was, of course, God is dead is an inflammatory comment for Christians to hear, but in context, he was saying, hey, look, this is bad. God is dead and you killed him, and civilization is completely floating without any moral compass.
Right.
We did a bad job.
Yeah. It's the same thing to the state.
Here.
Yeah, exactly. So there's a lot more. It's long, folks. It's Kissinger. He's writing a lot, and you get Eric Schmidt in there. They're doing mushrooms, watching Terminator. Who knows how they're coming up with this stuff? ChatGPT has no immediately evident personality, although users have occasionally prompted it to act like its evil twin. ChatGPT's lack of an identifiable author makes it harder for humans to intuit its leanings, and it would be to judge the political or social viewpoint of a human being. Because the machine's design and the questions fed to it generally have a human origin, however, we will be predisposed to imagine human-like reasoning. In reality, the AI is engaging in an inhuman analog to cognition. Though we perceive generative AI in human terms, its mistakes are not the mistakes of a human. It makes the mistakes of a different form of intelligence based on pattern recognition. Humans should not identify these mistakes as errors. Will we be able to recognize its biases and flaws for what they are? Can we develop an interrogatory mode capable of questioning the veracity and limitations of a model's answers, even when we do not know the answers ahead of time? Thus, AI outputs remain difficult to explain. The truth of Enlightenment science was trusted because each step is replicable. Experimental processes was also tested, hence trusted. The truth of generative AI will need to be justified by entirely different methods, and it may never become similarly absolute. As we attempt to catch our understanding up to our knowledge, we will have to ask continuously, what about the machine has not yet been revealed to us? What obscure knowledge is it hiding? Yes, he's very good with his words, by the way. I can see why.
Obscure as in like occult?
Yeah, exactly. Hidden. Computers are needed to harness growing volumes of data, but cognitive limitations may keep humans from uncovering truths buried in the world's information. ChatGPT possesses a capacity for analysis that is qualitatively different from that of the human mind. The future, therefore, implies a collaboration not only with a different kind of technical entity, but with a different kind of reasoning, which may be rational without being reasonable, trustworthy in one sense but not in another. That dependency itself is likely to precipitate a transformation in metacognition and hermeneutics, the understanding of understanding, and in human perceptions of our role and function. I had to read this like 2 or 3 times and absorb it, but he kind of is right in terms of what's going to happen. Not that he's wanting this. I think he's observing, like, okay, the trajectory where we're headed and how it's being governed. The whole AI thing is being governed right now. This is a potential outcome, and yeah, it's earth rattling, earth shaking.
Yeah, he's also bringing up the very real thing that a lot of people, at least in sort of the popular discussions about AI and is it sentient, is it intelligent, these types of things, he's sort of correctly asking the question, like, yeah, we can measure intelligence by our human standard, but this technology probably, sort of more than likely, would have an intelligence that's entirely foreign to the human mind. Like, just because it doesn't think like a human doesn't mean it's got its own perhaps superior style of intelligence that we would not even be able to comprehend.
Yeah, it's almost like bowing down to some kind of foreign god, some god that never existed before.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing. That's the techno-religious part of it, because I mean, that's something that, every believer has to come to terms with at some point or another, which is, yeah, God in his wisdom and intelligence is not, you can't always understand it. It's because God has an intelligence that was able to create human intelligence, but God's type of intelligence himself is it's just
way beyond
unimaginable.
We can't even comprehend big numbers.
Yeah, right.
Like we can be in a football stadium and know that there's a crowd, but then when somebody says, "Hey, there's 100,000 people in here," you go, "Whoa, this is 100,000 people." Yeah. Our brains don't calculate very well with that kind of stuff.
It's like a foreign language of intelligence.
Right.
And I'm glad to see that he was thinking deep about it.
He was thinking real deep. Okay, so he continues here, and it gets even crazier. Okay, and this is where I thought, okay, he's good. It's good. He's looking at AI, but this is where I thought, oh, whoa, okay, all right. He's listening to Canary Cry News Talk. Back to Kissinger, as models turn from human-generated text to more inclusive inputs, machines are likely to alter the fabric of reality itself. Alter the fabric of reality, Basil.
Very specific.
Quantum theory posits that observations create reality. Prior to measurement, no state is fixed, and nothing can be said to exist. If that is true, and if machine observations can fix reality as well, and given that AI systems' observations come with superhuman rapidity, the speed of the evolution of defining reality seems likely to accelerate. The dependence on machines will determine and thereby alter the fabric of reality, producing a new future that we do not yet understand, and for the exploration and leadership of which we must prepare. You're talking about the image of the... What is he talking about?
Kissinger is a trippy dude, man.
He's a trippy dude.
That's a trippy way to think about it. I mean, yeah. I mean, what he's laying out here is something that, again, used to be sort of the purview of weird, fringy corners of the internet, talking about quantum physics and how an intelligent observator,
right?
Plays
there's no reality unless there's an observer type of thing,
right? And I mean, he makes a point. He should have done a podcast, man. We should have done a podcast with Kissinger.
Oh, that would have been that would have been huge.
We'll get past the war crimes and get into his trippy thoughts about reality.
Yeah. Okay, just a couple more quotes coming from him from this paper here. The arrival of an unknowable and apparently omniscient instrument capable of altering reality may trigger a resurgence in mystic religiosity. Hey, Yeah, you don't say, Mr. Kissinger. Again, I think he was listening to our episodes.
For sure he was. For sure he was listening to the show.
Or
I'm
least,
100% convinced.
Oh,
like
you're convinced
said,
now.
Occam's
Okay.
razor is the simplest explanation.
May trigger the resurgence of mystic religiosity. Okay, the potential for group obedience to an authority whose reasoning is largely inaccessible to its subjects has been seen from time to time in the history of man. I've been reading about this. It's the abstraction of power. It's a very fascinating conversation. Perhaps most dramatically and recently in the 20th century, subjugation of whole masses of humanity under the slogan of ideologies on both sides of the political spectrum. He's talking about two wings of the same bird. A third way of knowing the world may emerge, one that is neither human reason nor faith. What becomes of democracy in such a world? What is he talking about? Iron mixing with clay is a third strand of DNA? I mean, he must have come across all this stuff to weave it into his writing. A reinvigorated moral and strategic leadership will be essential. I love his statecraft here. He's sticking to his statecraft, overarching thesis. Without guiding principles, humanity runs the risk of domination or anarchy, unconstrained authority, or nihilistic freedom. Nihilistic freedom. The need for relating major societal change to ethical justifications and novel visions for the future will appear in a new form if the maxims put forth by ChatGPT are not translated into a cognizably human endeavor. Am I saying that right? Cognizably human endeavor. Cognizably. Alienation of society and even revolution may become likely. Which is, yes. And I'm sure he's thinking, how do I capitalize on this revolution? How do I make money? Education in particular will need to adapt. A dialect, this was interesting as well. Education needs to adapt a dialectical pedagogy, that uses
pedagogy.
Pedagogy. I knew I was saying it wrong. That uses generative AI may enable speedier and more individualized learning than has been possible in the past. Teachers should teach new skills, including responsible modes of human-machine interlocution. Fundamentally, our educational and professional systems must preserve a vision of humans as moral, psychological, and strategic creatures, uniquely capable of rendering holistic judgments. I thought this was fascinating because it summarizes the sort of the sentiment of how he was a complex man. Because on one hand, it's easy to call him the war criminal. On the other hand, he is saying here, we have to maintain our humanity or we're just going to be overtaken by this AI thing that we don't know what we don't know about. So I thought, it's an interesting way to, I mean, he was still human, Basil. He was a human being, allegedly. But I think, for the most part.
Yeah, maybe. We'll see.
We'll see, I guess.
This is very inconvenient for the current modern power structure. Now, I think this is why or at least part of the reason why we saw such consistent headlines about Henry Kissinger's death. Yeah. You search Henry Kissinger right now, it's headline after headline after headline. Sometimes war criminal is in the headline.
Yeah, Rolling Stone.
Rolling Stone and a few others. And then I started just clicking down the list of, search results and just opening the article, doing a word search for war crime or war criminal. And every single article that I found, except for one, I think it was a little not surprising. The only article I could find that didn't mention him being a war criminal was from CNN. So take that for what you will.
Didn't
they
Fox,
can say they're turning.
Didn't Fox did Fox call him a war criminal? I thought Fox did sort of a more, I don't know, cordial language.
I didn't do a words. I'm sorry. I didn't put together a spreadsheet of everyone I looked at. But anyways, of the ones I saw, it was just CNN who didn't have war crime in the article. But so here's the point. I think a lot of this, he's having the correct conversation, whether it's with himself or whoever.
Eric Schmidt.
Yeah. He's obviously having these very high level conversations about artificial intelligence and not falling into the pitfall of all mainstream talking about AI right now, which is, will it kill us? Will it not kill us? Will it be good or bad? AI good? No, AI bad. But he's like really doing the sort of
the thinking,
mental exploration
yeah.
of just how complicated and perhaps just how impactful. I mean, going to the very fabric of reality being changed because a non-familiar consciousness or intelligence doing the observing. I mean, that's pretty high level, far corners of the internet podcast weirdo route to take.
Yeah, he's definitely in some rabbit hole somewhere.
And I think that's why they got to focus on the war crimes.
He's got a much more grounded take on AI, so we can keep people away from his takes on AI, maybe.
He's asking all the right questions, so we need to call him a war criminal.
Or maybe they're just waiting for him to, the KissingerGPT, so they can really just ask him the proper questions of how to deal with it. It says here, this is back to the Kissinger article about ChatGPT heralding an intellectual revolution. Machines will evolve faster than our genes will, causing domestic dislocation and international divergence. We must respond with commensurate alacrity, particularly in philosophy and conceptualism, nationally and globally. I was thinking about that. I think I've been doing conceptualism for a while with Face Like the Sun too, and I'll get to that in a minute. Global harmonization will need to emerge either by perception, I love this, by perception or by catastrophe, as Immanuel Kant predicted 3 centuries ago. So it doesn't matter if it's just a perception thing or an actual catastrophe, but we need global harmonization. I love that. It's like any means necessary. Doesn't even matter. Humans are taught from birth, and this again, he's appealing to humanity. Humans are taught from birth to believe what we see and hear, and that may well no longer be true with the results of generative AI, even if the big platforms by custom and regulation work hard to mark and sort bad content. We know that content, once seen, cannot be unseen. The ability to manage and control global distributed content fully is a serious and unsolved problem. I kind of got emotional reading this because I thought, the war criminal seems to have a beating heart, or did anyway, had some humanity in him, Yeah. So it was an interesting thing to read. And at the very end, as we become Homo technicus, we hold an imperative to define the purpose of our species. It is up to us to provide the real answers. And there you have it. That's Henry Kissinger with the former CEO of Google, Eric Schmidt, and Daniel Huttenlocher talking about ChatGPT, the implications of AI. It was published in the Wall Street Journal back in February. Quietly, I don't think we covered this back then. I don't know that many people were talking about it. But hey, it's kind of interesting to see what he left us with in terms of this topic and where it's headed.
Yeah, very strange sort of legacy of this person.
Yeah.
And of course, hard to argue against the war criminality, but also had some very interesting conversations, even if they were with himself. Speaking of which, I don't know if we necessarily needed to bring this to the show or if we even did, but on October 11th, he was doing a interview with somebody in Germany, a German outlet, and it seemed that he sort of changed his tune when it comes to immigration as well.
That's right. Yes, I have this clip here. Let's try to play it.
It was a grave mistake to let in so many people of totally different cultural and religious and concepts, because it creates a pressure group inside each country that does that.
So he's talking against immigration in the German context, right? But it seems like he was.
Yeah, and this guy, I mean, he is, if there was any sort of globalist extraordinaire, I don't know specifically his stances on everything, but I mean, he's in that group. He's part of the elite infrastructure that created all the sort of flare-up situations that we're having now. And this was after October 7th, on October 11th, after everything going on in Gaza. And he's on TV or some show in Germany being like, maybe this mass immigration of Middle Eastern people, like maybe this didn't work out as well as we thought.
Yeah. So again, he
I
might
think
have
that's
had a
another
conscience.
reason. I think that's another reason that they are insisting on the war criminal conversation. I mean, to see
It is, yeah, that is true. Yeah.
You and I both came to this at kind of the exact second. We saw Henry Kissinger died, and we just started flipping through all the articles.
Yeah.
And when the entire ecosystem of mainstream media has the same message, that's when you know something's up. The exact same message across the board. Oh yeah, he was a bad guy. He was a war criminal. Boo. Get him, everybody. And it's with very few exceptions. This was the story told across the internet, and which is very strange because, I mean, I don't know, lots of these types of people die, and yeah, maybe some radical outlet will dare to mention something bad they did, but it's, honoring the dead. They love to honor their elites, but to have a full scale, assassination of
character assassination.
Yeah. Or at least, obviously everybody getting out the same exact message. It was very suspicious. And that's what led us down this track of looking like what else is going on with this guy, because obviously they're trying to keep something from us. And I think the AI stuff is very relevant. Considering, now is when regulation is going into effect, and the government and the media is trying so hard to keep the conversation of AI good, AI bad. I think good, you think bad. And then, of course, I guess it wasn't last month now, but October 11th, during the most sort of heinous news cycle we've seen in years at least, you have him coming out and talking about how maybe all this mass immigration, open border stuff was not a great idea.
Yeah, again, perhaps some kind of content got in front of him that made him have a conscience to some of it. Who knows? But
I mean, maybe he knew he was dying, so he just stopped listening to everybody.
That's true. I wanted to just quickly run through the part that got me reading his paper here on ChatGPT and everything, Heralds, an Intellectual Revolution, was how it made me both uncomfortable, but also like, okay, we've been on the right track, because I've been yelling about this on the Face Like the Sun channel for years. And I wish more people would talk about it in this context, the end times and eschatology, because, the Israel thing is really divisive. Rapture talk is divisive, and it's just everything is very heated right now. But we can look at some more cosmological things here. Isaiah 34:4 talks about how in the King James, all the hosts of heaven shall be dissolved, and the heavens shall be rolled together as a scroll. So it's some sort of ending to the heavens as we know it. Yes, and of course that echoes Revelation 6. Starting on verse 12. And when I saw the Lamb open the sixth seal, there was a great earthquake, and the sun became black like sackcloth of goat hair, and the whole moon turned blood red. And of course, this is the sun, moon, star signs. This is sort of the, we've talked a lot about the blood moon and, different ways the sun might be darkened with a volcano or a nuclear explosion. There's all these different theories, but this all happens as a precursor to literally the shaking up of reality. Verse 14, the sky receded like a scroll being rolled up, and every mountain and island was moved from its place. So clearly there's something big happens here. And again, this is also the sun, moon, star signs are echoed in Matthew 24 when Jesus is talking about the end times. And he discusses here, I was going to talk more about the branches and the fig tree and the whole analogy there, but I'm going to save that for another time. Towards the end here from verse 30. Oh, here we go. 33. Ooh, 33. So also when you see all these things, you will know that he is near, right at the door. Truly, I tell you, this generation, the generation that sees these things, will not pass away until all these things have happened. Heaven and earth will pass away, but my words will never pass away. Again, a sort of hey, this reality is going to end at some point. Like the way it is going to end. And so that, it's just kind of an interesting way to think about all this, with a guy talking about AI, an elite member of the New World Order talking about AI in the context of it's going to change the fabric of reality. Me yelling for 5-6 years at least about how, hey, the end times, when Jesus returns, he's got to really reset everything because we're going to mess up creation. And that's a consistent thing. Romans 8 talks about creation is groaning, waiting for the revealing of the sons of God. It's already in decay to a certain extent because of the fall and everything. And so that restoration is going to take place, but it is a supernatural restoration. And perhaps the science of today is starting to tap into the mechanics of that. And that's why they're starting to think about, the multiverse and, all these non-tangible theories about reality and the construct of our cosmos and everything. So, there was one more thing that I wanted to mention about this. Maybe I don't remember. It was just about Hebrews 12:27 in this context. The words once more signify the removal of what can be shaken, that is, created things, so that the unshakable may remain. So when this change happens, the unshakable, it's the 1 Corinthians 15 thing, the mortal putting on immortality, the dead in Christ rising first. All these prophecies, I don't know, they don't sound as crazy. And I'm sure they don't sound as crazy to people looking into AI. Maybe perhaps if someone shared this to Kissinger, he might have been like, I repent or whatever. But I just wanted to mention how there is a line of thought, maybe some conceptualism here, biblical eschatological conceptualism when it comes to how God ends this era, this age.
Right.
And has to do with some pretty wild changes to the fabric of reality, perhaps because we mess it up. We let AI start messing with the fabric of reality, and God's like, we got to stop that. That's in addition to the creation, the DNA being messed up, the biology.
Right. And, it's so interesting because you talk to somebody who may not be a believer or isn't anymore or something like that. And you talk about just sort of the miraculous or the supernatural or prophecy or whatever. And there's this sort of way that you can talk past each other about like what a miracle is, when they hear miracle, they imagine just like a poof of smoke, and there's no natural explanation. But oftentimes natural explanations are just like part of the thing. Just because something doesn't have a natural explanation doesn't mean it isn't a work of God or supernatural sort of in its essence, rather. And so we're always kind of on the lookout for like, what's going on? How is God doing what he does? And something as obscure as, what's found in the book of Revelation of more and more. I mean, every episode of this show that we do, we find that the prophecies and the supernatural elements are available to the natural world right now. It's not even that strange.
Yeah.
And even if it goes to, something funky like Kissinger's idea of a new intelligence altering the fabric of reality, I mean, if that's how it works, I don't know exactly if it is, but if that's how
what machine did
works,
they show Henry? Like, hey, check this out, Henry. We got this thing over here. Oh, it's changing fabric of reality. I don't like it.
Yeah. Yeah, there's lots of people. Anybody who's spent time on the internet has come in contact with the observer effect when it comes to quantum mechanics. So, anyways, this is just a very interesting way to introduce the natural effects of the sort of supernatural idea of what's going on behind the scenes, whether it's of the elites or of reality itself.
Yep. And with that being said, let's talk about how it's Monday.
Gary, what day is it? Monday.
Sounds like somebody's got a case of the Mondays.
Gary, what day is it?
That's right. It's Monday, and Guns, something very strange has been happening this episode. the chat has been.
I've been working on it.
Was that you? Here. Have you seen that happening? The
I think
chat
it's back.
on YouTube was like entirely disabled for a while.
Yeah. I think I made a mistake on my end. I was from the behind the board here. I think I accidentally made it so the show is only available to children. And so I think we were streaming live on YouTube Kids. Everybody, what's up? Exclusively on YouTube Kids. Googly-eyed man talks about old man.
That's very
talking
funny.
AI. Well, yeah, I think it's fixed. Good
job to whoever made it to the show. And yes, the chat is now back in action.
It's back, but it's still not working properly in the on the actual page here. Not the page. The oh, there it is. Yes, it's working.
Broadcast.
It is working now on the broadcast. All right, we're back. Yes.
Okay, everybody. We're glad you're here. We're having fun. We made it through the weekend. It's Monday, and there's a lot going on. Gons, do you have anything to update us about?
Just a quick apology for last episode for bailing out. There was it was just too much. It was too much for me to handle. Too much for me to handle. But I will say this, perhaps this was the Lord working and putting rage in my heart and stepping away to create room for the artistic talents of my co-host Basil Rosewater to shine along with the producers. You think I'm mocking? I am not. We'll get to the producer section and you'll see what I'm talking about. But yes, apologies for that. You did a good job, and we're okay. I'm okay over here.
No
it was
worries.
Just a real bad day. It was a real bad day, and I was about ready to go hurt somebody or something.
Well, it certainly lit the fire about the Canary Babysitters Club. And I'm not going to talk a whole lot about it, but I'm going to talk about it for a second because we have to. This is the age that we are in when it comes to this community and this show and everything we're doing here. We're pushing for producership and help with the Canary Babysitters Club again. It is the number one priority right now because you deserve, Gons, as good of a father as you are, which, by the way, doing something that I think literally no other person is doing, which is simultaneously fathering screaming children and doing 3-hour podcasts 3 times a day. I mean, you literally
3 times a day, yes,
might be the only person on this planet who is trying to pull off what should be considered impossible. So you get a lot of grace from me, get a lot of grace from everybody. But with that said, last episode was a good example of why we need to focus on getting the Babysitters Club. Now, of course, there's going to be the people on the internet, the blah, 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 just advertise to us, stop asking us for money, blah, blah, blah. Why is it our responsibility, blah, blah, blah. Fine, that's whatever. You can, you're here, you're watching the show, you like the show, that's okay. But if that's your attitude, I still get to make fun of you. But those who recognize through the Valley for Valley model that it is up to all of us to keep this show going, you get it. Now, if you go to CanaryCryBabysittersClub.com, you can guarantee that your money is going towards babysitting duties. Now, it's not everything's locked in. We are way far away from our goal there, but the money is being prepared, is being staged to go into action once we can find the right person, because it must be done. So if you have never produced a show, maybe you have. Maybe you like the idea of knowing exactly what your money is going to. Go to CanaryCryBabysittersClub.com, and that's where it's going. Everybody who signs up through there, it will be going to the babysitter. Now, that being said, Babysitters Club has been around for a little while, and obviously we're having trouble getting the babysitter because our budget was too small, blah, blah, the whole thing. You get it. You've heard me ramble on about it. But just know, even if the babysitter isn't here today, that money is being accounted for. It's being put into the pile of money that we will make some nanny in Southern California unimaginably wealthy for making sure that this show can exist. So there you go. We encourage everybody to do that, and we are on the value for value model. So it's, this is it. If you're, the people who are naysaying the value for value model, they're just normal people who are stumbling across the show and they don't understand. They just want to get advertised to. They like their mind control, and that's okay. It's just a matter of time before the good influence seeps in.
Maybe I'll write a book, not a dad bod, but a dad pod.
Oh, wow.
The dad pod,
Yeah, that's good.
Mm-hmm.
And it's also a very important time to do all what we're doing now as well, because we're kind of on the home stretch, Gons, when it comes to Age of Deceit 4.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
We're on the home stretch. The time is ticking away. And the more we can take a little bit of, weight, literal children weight off your hands so you can get it on the keyboard, the faster we can get Age of Deceit 4, which will be coming very soon.
It's coming.
Will be coming first quarter of 2024. And just as a reminder, so everybody knows, when you sign up for the Babysitters Club or the supply drop, which is you saying, I value this show, I value it at $2.77 per episode, I am going to sign up to support the show for $33.33 a month. When we give you free stuff. It's our free thank you gifts for committing to keeping the show going, and it's called the supply drop. And many of you out there are sitting at your desk or on your couch or wherever you're watching the show, and you're just you're covered in awesome stuff that just arrived in the mail. The supply drops have been landing. People are stoked, and we are shooting for a real quick turnaround on this next supply drop. We are trying our very hardest to get the next supply drop in your hands before Christmas. So keep an ear out for that. It will include the Canary Cry calendar, which is awesome. And we will be trying a lot of things this month. Let's just say that.
Yeah, we'll see how it all pans out.
Canary Cry, Babysittersclub.com, Canary Cry Supply Drop. Just, get it. You get it. Produce the show. Because without producers, there is no show. Which I think is a good time to thank our executive producers, Gons.
Executive producers.
It's the value for value model. You get it. We don't take any money from corporations, commies, or cartels. We're entirely funded by the community. And all that means is, hey, if you get value from the show and you want the show to continue, instead of relying on corporations to mind control you through advertising and manipulate your emotions and your thoughts into benefiting financially a corporation, well, you can just say, hey, I like this. I want this to continue and produce the show. And we honor our producers here, especially our executive producers who come in for $100 or more per episode, for any individual episode rather. And we're going to thank them right now. Ready?
Yep.
Hey, big fun one here. This is from producer. Oh, dang. I had the round table pulled up and I was like, oh, got to turn off all these extra tabs. I don't need 10,000 tabs. I'm going to close them. And of course I close the tabs that I need
tab.
along with
what are you looking for? What are you looking for?
But this first executive producership is from Sir Guy and Dame Debbie.
Sir Guy and Dame Debbie. Oh,
yes.
Hold on. Guardians of the Galactic Zephyrland. There they are.
Good. You had it.
Yeah.
Perfect. Yes, they come in. They're supporting the show. They come in with an executive producership of 33333. They did it. Mega Luminatus.
Whoa.
333 and 33 cents. Thank you so
Very
much,
generous.
Guy and
Thank
Debbie.
you.
They have a note here that says, hey, Basil and Gons, our $333.33 donation, along with our monthly 33 contributions over the past few years since our knighting, promotes us from Sir Guy and Dame Debbie, Knights of the Galactic Zephyrland, to, and this brings up some very interesting culture issues here, to Guy and Debbie, Barons of the apocalyptic Pastorland. We sold the Zephyrland, also now known as Zephyr Books and Coffee, so we needed a name change anyways. I Debbie would just prefer to identify as a baron instead of a baroness. Not a gender thing, just too many syllables. Thanks. We can make that happen. We appreciate you, your content, and especially your dedication to the value for value model. Keep up the good work, Guy and Debbie.
Oh, well, thank you.
Part of the fun, guys, is we have been sort of letting the producers guide the way when it comes to the roadmap of the Canary Cry Roundtable of Knights and Dames.
Yes.
And I think somebody's finally taken the initiative and decided it for us, which is Baron is the next level. We tried our best to try to make it a little bit multicultural, bring in the Japanese influence. This was a couple of years ago with the daimyo level. But it just didn't really catch. It didn't stick.
You're all racists. I'm kidding.
So we will put Baron as the next level. And, folks who don't know, the Canary Cry Roundtable of Knights and Dames are for people who have supported the show in the amount of $1,000 or more all together or all at once, whatever, which earns them a seat at the round table with a title and all this fun stuff. They get on the website. And but there needed to be like a second level, $1,000, maybe $2,000, and it looks like $2,000 now counts. You become a baron. So producers out there, check your accounting.
I was gonna
send us an email.
Yeah, I was gonna say some knights and dames may be already baron level. So
for sure, certainly there are people out there that can claim baron level. So if that's the case, send us an email, send us your accounting, and we will figure that out.
Okay.
I don't know exactly how to. We got to figure out a new ceremony for barons, or maybe we just do the same one with different words. Maybe that's it. Whatever the case may be, thank you very much, Sir Guy, Dame Debbie, for the progressing us forward in the Canary Cry culture, figuring this out, and for your extremely generous executive producership.
Where'd you find this?
Thank you very much.
Yeah. And of course, we got one more executive producer here. You know him, you love him. He is a pinnacle of executive producership, and that is Sir LX Protocol, V2 Knight of the Berean Protocol. That's right. He's there. He's the executive streaker of a lifetime here. Comes in with his $100.33. He has been producing the show for 240 episodes in a row with a 36-episode executive producer.
Oh yeah, Streakalicious.
That's right. Thank you so much for our executive producers. Remember, everybody, you too can make it on the list of illustrious Canary Cry Knights and Dames. You can make it to the roundtable, or you can just get a nice classic demooching by supporting the show for the first time. You can learn much more about this by heading to canarycry.support.
Canarycry.support.
Yeah. We got more producers. We're going to thank them later. I do want to go down the list and thank the people who responded to the need in their world, in their community, in their circle of influence. These are people who take action. They don't just sit back and let the world happen to them. They happen to the world. They are the storm. And these are people who signed up for the Canary Cry Babysitters Club since last episode.
Okay, let's do it.
Yeah. We do have a Babysitters Club jingle laying around.
Yeah, I played it. I played it lightly in the background while you were talking earlier.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we'll do it again though. Let's see here.
Ah, yes, this.
Yeah.
Here's the thing, folks. Canary Cry Babysitters Club members, they like the idea. They know exactly what their money's going to. They want to keep the show going. They think childcare is a worthy mission for them to put their resources. We take every single person who supports this show financially incredibly seriously. It is not, especially in times like this, it means the world to us. We could not do the show without you. But signing up after last episode to the Babysitters Club is incredible. An answer to prayer. If you heard the last episode, we did the math. We need like 100 more people. So we're just going to march towards it. But we had a nice chunk of people I want to thank right now. Ready?
Yep.
Starting with Babysitters Club member I need a good title for Babysitters Club members, because the T-shirt council members, they're the most important people in the world. But the Babysitters Club, they're the titans of industry. For this go around, I'll call them also the most important person in the world. Ready?
Okay. Yeah.
Most important person in the world, Travis H.
Canary Cry Babysitters Club.
There we go. Thank you, Travis
Next,
H.
most important person in the world is Tracy W.
Tracy W. Thank you.
Yes. Next, most important person in the world is Yvonne R.
Yvonne R. Thank you.
That's right. Just a few more folks. Next, most important person in the world, Chris M.
Chris M. Thank you.
That's right. And don't forget about this most important person in the world, Jack M.
Jack M. Thank you.
This is incredible. The most important person in the world, Chris D. is here.
Chris D. Yeah, Chris D. and Chris M.
A lot of people. And also, last but not least, we have most important person in the world, Kate S.
Kate S. Thank you very much. Wow, that's a lot of people.
I am working right now with Sir Ike to see if we can put together some sort of special thing for people who sign up to the Babysitters Club. And if we do figure out that we can do that, these people will be receiving the cool thing. Cool. But there you go. Thank you so much. It really means the world to us. I'm going to stop talking now because this is going long. But you're really answering prayers. You're answering the call. It's so admirable that you guys would step up. It really makes us feel all warm and fuzzy inside.
That's true. There's some people in the chat saying the Babysitter Club difference in seeing the volume level of the background noise is a tangible, measurable thing. So,
okay.
Yeah.
That's good. Mm-hmm. Wonderful.
Yep. You ready to go for Flippy?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
Flippy update.
Do you want fries with that?
That's right, folks. Time for the Flippy update. Flippy is our colloquial name for the disembodied robot arms that are taking our jobs, enslaving our children, and flirting with our spouses. We use talking about Flippy as a way to explore all the new, fun, and exciting ways that robots are taking over the world and how there's nothing we can do about it. Today's Flippy update is coming from an enormous article that had huge ramifications in the news regarding lots and lots of different topics, but one of them in particular I saw was being left behind. People were uninterested in reporting on this part of the story. This is coming from 972mag.com, and the headline is "A Mass Assassination Factory Inside Israel's Calculated Bombing of Gaza." Now, it is very specifically talking about what's going on in Gaza by Israel. I think it did an okay job of not falling into blatant sort of anti-Israel talk, but has a lot of very interesting factual details about what is going on over there, touching on a number of topics. But one of these topics was of particular interest to us. Let me give you a little intro here, and we'll get into it real quick. The Israeli army's expanded authorization for bombing non-military targets, the loosening of constraints regarding expected civilian casualties, and the use of an artificial intelligence system to generate more potential targets than ever before appear to have contributed to the destructive nature of the initial stages of Israel's current war on the Gaza Strip. An investigation by 972 Magazine and Local Call reveals these factors, as described by current and former Israeli intelligence members have likely played a role in producing what has been one of the deadliest military campaigns against Palestinians since the Nakba of 1948. So, of course, there's a lot going on there, but the thing that caught our eye was the artificial intelligence being used. I'm going to skip down a couple paragraphs here. Starts with a quote. "Nothing happens by accident," said another source. "When a 3-year-old girl is killed in a home in Gaza, it's because someone in the army decided it wasn't a big deal for her to be killed, that it was a price worth paying in order to hit another target. We are not Hamas. These are not random rockets. Everything is intentional. We know exactly how much collateral damage there is in every home." And this is the quote from an Israeli intelligence official saying, "We are not Hamas. We know what we're doing." So even sort of putting down the random rockets, saying everything is intentional. And it goes here, according to the investigation, another reason for the large number of targets and the extensive harm to civilians' life in Gaza is the widespread use of a system called Habzora. And the translation of Habzora is the gospel, which is largely built on artificial intelligence and can generate targets almost automatically at a rate that far exceeds what was previously possible. The AI system, as described by a former intelligence officer, essentially facilitates a mass assassination factory. And so the idea that there is artificial intelligence at use in this wartime scenario is not strange to listeners of this show. Indeed, we try to document as many uses of artificial intelligence back even when it was just a daydream of the technocrats, that could be something, that would be not just tested, but in use in a very practical way. The fact that it translates to the gospel is, maybe I'm missing something culturally. I just think it's a little weird, Gons.
It is a little weird because gospel just means good news. So
right.
this system is good news for the Israeli intelligence officers who can get
Israeli
more targets.
Intelligence officers.
Or interesting.
Let me give you some more details about this. According to the IDF spokesperson, by November 10th, during the first 35 days of fighting, Israel attacked a total of 15,000 targets in Gaza. Based on multiple sources, this is a very high figure compared to the 4 previous major operations in the Strip. During Guardian of the Walls in 2021, Israel attacked 1,500 targets in 11 days. In Protective Edge in 2014, which lasted 51 days, Israel struck between 5,000 and 6,000 targets. During Pillar of Defense in 2012, about 1,500 targets were attacked over 8 days. In Cast Lead in 2008, Israel struck 3,400 targets in 22 days. Man, just to have the list of very recent military operations in Gaza is interesting. But you can see that this time around, they've attacked about 10 times more than any other operation. Intelligence sources who served in the previous operations also told 972 and Local Call that for 10 days in 2021 and 3 weeks in 2014, an attack rate of 100 to 200 targets per day led to a situation in which the Israeli Air Force had no targets of military value left. Why then, after nearly 2 months, has the Israeli army not yet run out of targets in the current war? The answer may lie in a statement from the IDF spokesperson on November 2nd, according to which it is using the AI system Habzora, the gospel, which the spokesperson says enables the use of automatic tools to produce targets at a fast pace and works by improving accurate and high-quality intelligence material according to operational needs. In the statement, the senior intelligence official is quoted as saying that thanks to Habzora, targets are created for precision strikes while causing great damage to the enemy and minimal damage to non-combatants. Hamas operatives are not immune, no matter where they hide. According to the intelligence sources, Habzora generates, among other things, automatic recommendations for attacking private residences
this is
where people suspected of being Hamas or jihad operatives live. Israel then carries out large-scale assassination operations through the heavy shelling of these residential homes. So you have the AI choosing targets for the military. And you might think, oh, well, certainly they are getting the recommendations and then, pouring over the data to make sure that the AI made the right decision. That is the answer we would all like to hear, of course.
Yeah.
Comments.
Yeah. First off, this is troubling. It is sort of the layer, the screen layer that has detached us from reality, because if it's just a pop-up, and I think they said, did you read the part where they're using cell phone signals and stuff like that to identify where they are?
It's got sort of like a feed,
right?
And it gets all this data at once. And where they used to be able to target target and shell about 10 targets a day, it's gone up to 100 or 200 a day because of how quickly this AI finds targets. There's no need. It does the job of tens of thousands of intelligence officers in a day. So they would need tens of thousands of people to do the work to pick these targets in the speed that the AI does now.
I have another thing highlighted here. One former intelligence officer explained that the Habsora system enables the army to run a mass assassination factory in which the emphasis is on quantity and not on quality.
Yeah.
A human eye, quote, will go over the targets before each attack, but it need not spend a lot of time on them. End quote. Since Israel estimates that there are approximately 30,000 Hamas members in Gaza, and they are all marked for death, the number of potential targets is enormous.
Yeah.
And,
so the point being that, so they have a guy look at the list, but, it's targeting based on family relations. It's targeted based on, just what their address is. And so basically it's just the computer booting up the addresses of all known or suspected Hamas people, and they just go house by house and blow them up one after the other, 100, 200 per day, sometimes even more, which, look, if you're talking, let's pretend we're Henry Kissinger for a second. If we are Henry Kissinger, this sounds pretty good. Yes, the blood of innocent children makes me live forever. And so, you could see how in the sort of pragmatic Henry Kissinger way, this would actually sound pretty good.
Yeah. Although, I don't know, it's leveraging AI perhaps in a way that he wouldn't agree with.
Yeah, I mean, who knows? Again, what is even the intelligence that they are working with here? Yeah. It says here this is a machine that remember, these are Israeli intelligence officers giving these quotes too. This is not, this is not a leaker or something. Quote, this is a machine that will, with the help of AI, processes a lot of data better and faster than any human and translate it into targets for attack. The result was that in Operation Guardian of the Walls in 2021, from the moment this machine was activated, it generated 100 new targets every day. You see, in the past, there were times in Gaza where you would create 50 targets per year. 50 targets per year.
Now 100 a day.
And now they get 100 per day.
Hold on, let me do some math. Let me figure out what that is real quick while you're talking there.
Yeah, and that's when he says, we prepare the targets automatically and work according to a checklist.
Right.
It really is like a factory. We work quickly. There is no time to delve deep into the target. The view is that we are judged according to how many targets we manage to generate. A senior military official in charge of the target bank told the Jerusalem Post earlier this year that thanks to the Army's AI systems, for the first time, the military can generate new targets at a faster rate than it attacks. Okay. They are targeting faster than they can actually attack.
Okay, so the math works out. So 50 a year was the prior pace, right?
Yeah.
It is 730 times that at 100 per day. We're talking 36,500 targets. So again, divide that by 50, and that is 730x.
Yeah, so it takes 730 years to bomb as much as they can do now in 1 year.
Jeez. It's
pretty crazy.
Yeah,
man.
it's wild. Wild stuff.
It says here, automated systems like Habzora have thus greatly facilitated the work of Israeli intelligence officers in making decisions during military operations, including calculating potential casualties. 5 different sources confirm that the number of civilians who may be killed in attacks on private residences is known in advance to Israeli intelligence and appears clearly in the target file under the category of collateral damage. So in the spreadsheet of the AI targeted home, there is a column for how many people it will also kill. According to these, non-combatants, civilians, etc. According to these sources, there are degrees of collateral damage, according to which the Army determines whether it is possible to attack a target inside of a private residence. Quote, when the general directive becomes collateral damage 5, that means we are authorized to strike all targets that will kill 5 or less civilians. We can act on all target files that are 5 or less.
Oh my
said
gosh.
One of the sources.
That's what.
So they know.
This is that thing about how this is like Ender's Game. You know, it's just like a dot on a screen. It's not a human. They're over there. They're Hamas. You know, it's a civilian, but hey, got to get the bad guy. There's some collateral damage.
And it shows you. It's not like they don't know. It's like the artificial intelligence is calculating just how many non-Hamas combatants
allegedly
can be killed.
Yeah, they're even giving you. They're gamifying it so much. They're giving you like the limits. Like, nope, there's 6 civilians there. Can't bomb that spot there. Try again.
And look, we know the situation is complicated over there. We know that there's horrific things. You know, October 7th was absolutely nightmarish. We get the whole thing, and us bringing this. This is not us trying to make a case for anything except our obsession of AI, which is AI is facilitating. It's almost like a scapegoat. And I mean that in the religious term.
Yeah.
You know, in the ancient Hebrew, when the ancient Hebrews,
Israelites,
the Israelites, what they would do when there came time to atone for their sins, they would kill a lamb and they would put all of their sins onto a goat, and they would send the goat out of the village or out of the city or whatever. And that was their sins gone. And now they can, keep doing their thing. This is literally a scapegoat. We are putting all the sins of the collateral damage, approving 5 civilians getting killed for every 1 Hamas getting killed. You know, something that everybody, even the most war-hardened, Israeli, I would say, would prefer not to kill civilians. Maybe I'm optimistic. That's what I think. But the use of the AI and the technology and the the unknown intelligence, as Kissinger would put it, of the AI is acting almost as a religious rite, a religious scapegoat to dissolve the sin of killing 5 or less civilians with every missile. Says here, to my understanding, today they can mark all the houses of any Hamas military operative, regardless of rank. The source continued, that is a lot of houses. Hamas members who don't really matter for anything live in homes across Gaza. So they mark the home and bomb the house and kill everyone in there.
Now, I will just to ground this segment here. Yeah. Where's the Flippy? I thought they were going to actually have like a robot arm go out there and pull this off. Is this just adjacent to Flippy, the mind of Flippy and the killer robot type of situation?
Yeah, sometimes Flippy we shift over to the brain of Flippy,
right?
Because that's their doing, not mine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I wouldn't be surprised if there was a robot arm doing some of this. Some of the operations here in some regard.
Sure.
We may not know about it, but there's always robot arms. You'd think that they're not, but there's always robot arms.
There always is. I need to correct myself. I need to go on the record. Earlier this episode, I said Freud was the
Nietzsche.
God is dead guy. It's Nietzsche.
It's Nietzsche. I should
Thank you for the correction.
That,
I should have known that. That was silly. So this We saw AI being used in drones in Ukraine. We thought, oh my gosh, it's happening. Oh my gosh. Then we saw the Pentagon moving towards artificial intelligence targeting.
No wonder.
Without
This
human
makes
assistance
sense
or whatever.
This kind of makes sense too in the context of that conversation. It's like, oh well, they're kind of pulling it off. Like, oh, okay, well, I guess that's
right.
Makes it okay for us to do that. It's like they're setting the standard a little bit.
Oh yeah, for sure. This absolutely gives the U.S. What's the word? Precedent to go ahead and do it. And again, going back to sort of the religious structure of the whole thing, they do have human eyes on the list. They get a spreadsheet of all the targets. They look at the spreadsheet and they go, okay, good. Like the human authorization of AI targeting is absolutely useless. It's absolutely a big old nothing burger when it comes to regulating the use of AI targeting, AI weapons in warfare. And much like how Ukraine was more than anything a testing ground for this new age of warfare that we are in, I think in a way we are seeing the Israel-Gaza conflict right now as another testing ground. It sounds like they used the gospel AI in 2021, which, we were doing the show at that time. I don't remember the AI. Do you?
No. I wonder how some of the people that are very pro-Israel in their, pro-Zionist, I should say, in their eschatology, are they like stoked about this? Because there were some very famous and popular Christians, evangelical circles, talking about how we need to destroy Hamas and kill Hamas and do whatever it takes to destroy evil and all this kind of stuff. And I understand the sentiment, and getting rid of people that are violent and that kind of stuff. But then to like leverage AI to call it the gospel and to be like, yeah, we see civilians on the list, but hey, if it's under 5, it's all good. And it's just kind of, I don't know. There's it's hard for me
we're seeing the use of religiosity across the board. I mean, look, we know that this war is being sort of falsely painted as a religious war.
Yes.
And it's not. It's a political war, and they're using religious language in order to.
Well, it's very convenient to use the Hal Lindsey template in the West here to gain geopolitical support. That's why they're doing it. And that's why, and it works. It's worked before,
and it works great.
Yeah.
And of course, I mean, there's comments in the chat, and this is a good point. I mean, talking about how many times in the Old Testament of the Bible, which includes the Torah and others, that destroying everything your enemy owns was the point. That God gave the command to not only kill the men, but the women, the children, the goats, the everything, and take the land. Is
Hamas Nephilim? Is that what are we going to learn, that they're not human? I think that's
we will find out who Nephilim are later on in the show.
Yeah, that's right. Okay.
But again, you can make any theological argument you want about the Old Testament versus New Testament versus Now Testament. Woo! Sorry, my mega church pastor came out there for a second. But yes, so framing the whole thing, in a worldview where they are being recalled to an Old Testament style smiting of enemies, you could make a case for the gospel, AI, the news, the good news, the AI murder bot.
It's good news, guys.
God.
God gave us the AI. Let's do it. Let's carry it out.
How did our ancestors kill everybody before without the AI? It's impossible. It's crazy. This gift from God is helping us carry out our calling, and it really is that religiosity, the re-enchantment almost of the political situation that is sort of the twisted part about the propaganda when it comes to AI, when it comes to robots, when it comes to technocratic progress at all costs. They put it in these religious terms. The Flippy update is peppered with robot pastors, robot priests, robot monks, all these things. The robots are better at religion than we are. So why would we not trust the robots to our religious wars? Things like this. I mean, we're really seeing a culmination of everything we've warned about in the Flippy update for many years now.
Yeah, and it totally is this is another step. You mentioned Ukraine. Now we have this. I mean, what kind of robot war are we going to see for Taiwan? It might be full-on Gundam, you know, by the time we get to Taiwan.
I mean, hopefully, at least that'll be cool to watch.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
We need, I'm tired of all this gore.
Yeah, the gore needs to,
we need CNN to be live broadcasting giant robot battles.
Oh man, please get, what's his name? The peppery-haired guy on CNN, gay feller.
Cooper, Anderson Cooper.
Yes, Cooper.
Yeah. Live calling a robot battle.
Calling from inside one of the robots. Oh, please, Lord.
He's in a referee robot suit.
Then
we black and white stripes and a whistle around his neck.
We find out he's just in a dungeon in a green screen and a VR headset. But, it'll be exciting when it first happens. Okay.
You got to laugh to keep from crying, folks. That is the Flippy update for today.
Here we go.
Speaking of the beast system, beast system.
People don't even read their Bible, for heaven's sakes.
Wanted to do this real quick because it came across my desk and I thought it was interesting. And it goes right on theme with the woo world order and all the supernaturalism on the rise again. The, mystic religiosity, as Henry Kissinger put it. The headline here from theconversation.com. Could you move your biological body to a computer? An expert explains mind uploading. Hey, finally some experts on this thing. Because
they didn't call me. They must not have that great of experts.
Imagine brain scanning technology improves greatly in the coming decades to the point that we can observe how each individual neuron talks to other neurons. Then imagine we can record all this information to create a simulation of someone's brain on a computer. Yeah, sounds like a surveillance state. The scientific dictatorship, the virtual panopticon,
what is this,
all
a
wrapped
Fringe
up
podcast from 2012?
This is the concept behind mind uploading. The idea that we may one day be able to transition a person from their biological body to a synthetic hardware. The idea originated in an intellectual movement called transhumanism and has several key advocates, including computer scientist Ray Kurzweil, philosopher Nick Bostrom, and neuroscientist Kendall Cohn. Transhumanists' central hope is to transcend the human condition through scientific and technological progress. Again, this is all stuff I know people listening know, but I think it's just fascinating that in 2023, the conversation is talking about transhumanism and Ray Kurzweil and all this kind of stuff. It's like, man, they really must have dug up those episodes from like 2012, 2013. It might even let us improve ourselves, such as having simulated brains that run faster and more efficiently than biological ones. It's a techno-optimist's dream for the future. That's a nice way of putting it. But does it have any substance? The feasibility of mind uploading rests on 3 core assumptions. First is the technology assumption, the idea that we will be able to develop mind uploading technology within the coming decades. Second is the artificial mind assumption, the idea that a simulated brain would give rise to a real mind. And third is the survival assumption, the idea that the person created in the process is really, quote unquote, you. Only then does mind uploading become a way for you to live on. How plausible is each of these? Now, I'm not going to get into all of it because it's a very sort of technical thing, and they go a little bit, philosophical, a little scientific, and they dab around a little bit. But there's a caveat here. But wait, what happens when the original biological you also survives the uploading process? And this is, a common question I remember thinking about a while ago too. Would you, along with your consciousness, split into 2 people, resulting in 2 of you? One in a biological form and one in an uploaded form. And they have like parentheses, assigned letters to these. So like biological form, B. And then uploaded form, C. No, you, as in, A, can't literally split into 2 separate people. B does not equal C. And be identical with both at the same time. At most, only one of them can be you, either A or B, or A or C. It seems most intuitive that after a split, your biological form would continue as the real you, A equals B, and the uploaded would merely be a mental copy. But that makes it doubtful that you could survive as the upload even in the case when the biological you is destroyed. Why would destroying biological you magically elevate your mental clone to the status of the real you? It seems strange to think this would happen, although one view of philosophy claims that it can. Unfortunately, the artificial mind assumption and the survival assumption can't be conclusively empirically tested. We would actually have to upload ourselves to find out.
There it is.
Uploading will therefore always involve a huge leap of faith.
Mm-hmm.
Personally, I would only take that leap if I knew for certain my biological hardware wasn't going to last much longer. So there you go. I think it's interesting that they had to appeal to a leap of faith. After all the science and philosophy that they talk about and the problems or the three premises that they have for mind uploading, they're like, actually, we have no evidence that this works. But also, if we're going to do it, we just have to do it first off, okay? We have no proof it works, but we're just going to do it. And then we have to have faith, everybody. Come on, science community, have some faith that we can upload mind to a machine. So there you go. I thought that was...
it's perfect. It goes... It's part of the whole thing. This is everything.
Yeah.
They're coming to a point where the technology, the propaganda, the culture, everything requires that they frame any step into the future from here on out. Every step has to be by faith and not by faith in God. It requires faith in scientism or the technology or whatever, because they cannot prove that their plan for the future is any better for us than just what we have now or even have had in the past. It's they're asking people, they've spent so much time. It is a virtue to make fun of Christians publicly. It is a virtue to be Christophobic. You are to the expectation that you can make a mean comment about somebody's belief system and you are met with laughter and applause by your community has been so ingrained in the culture that now they are turning around and saying, ooh, actually, you're not going to like what we have next. So you better start having some faith, people. But not that silly Christian faith. You must have faith in the science.
Yeah.
And that really will be a step of faith for whoever goes ahead and just volunteers for the first mind upload.
Yeah.
Thankfully, even in secular culture, there's been shows like Black Mirror that at least ask the right questions.
Yeah, Transcendence from back in 2014 and stuff like that. So yeah, the idea has been out there for a long time, but as the technology becomes more available, I think it'll be more tempting for especially people of the elite, And I was wondering, like, do you think Henry Kissinger just did a little try it. I put my leap of faith in machine. Just try.
It's not the weirdest thing,
especially with his son talking about Henry Kissinger's brain being a weapon. I mean, somebody wanted to preserve that brain.
Maybe
right?
he is the gospel.
Oh,
maybe he's Hapsora. I mean, if you think about it, Hapsora the AI choosing the targets in Gaza is pretty much in alignment with Kissinger's foreign policy for his entire career. Hapsora, the gospel AI being used against Gaza by Israel right now, might just be Henry Kissinger's brain that was uploaded to a computer.
His brain, which is a weapon, uploaded to a machine to assist Israel in its war against Hamas. Yep, there you go. Only on this show, folks, you get that kind of theory. Okay, so we have we're going to do...
Let's just roll on to the Nephilim update.
Yeah, let me try to make sure I have the Nephilim update jingle here because it is missing on my little window here, which is not good because that is a very important jingle. Okay, hold on. Let me see if I can find it.
It's been a while. Quick. It's been a while since we've heard the Nephilim update jingle, folks. This is great. I want everybody to sit back in your chair, close your eyes, think of a better time and let the Nephilim update jingle take you away to a simpler time where everything we talked about on this show was imaginary nonsense that we got from reading the news. But now it's our world. So
There it
take
is.
a deep breath.
I think this is it. Play. Play. Oh no, it's not playing. Why wouldn't you
Kissinger, get out of Gonza's computer.
Kissinger needs to leave.
Get out of here, Kissy.
Is this it? Maybe this is it. Oh, it is. It's just no sound. Hold on. One more time.
Oh,
let's give it a go here.
No.
Yeah. Henry. Stop it, Henry.
Nephilim update. Nephilim update. Nephilim update.
Boy.
Okay.
Beautiful.
So we have a clip here from Roseanne Barr, the Roseanne Barr show. And Tucker Carlson was recently on. And the conversations got very interesting. Got a couple clips.
They don't believe in God. That's how
definitely.
This is them talking about the elite, obviously, here.
They think they are gods. Of course. God doesn't apologize. In Job, which I just read, God makes his deal with literally with the devil.
Tucker Carlson reading the Bible, reading the book of Job.
Ooh, I just read the Bible.
And afflicts this guy called Job. And Job's like, hey, God, like, why did you do this? And God's answer is basically, I'm God. I don't need to explain. God's the only one who doesn't need to explain or apologize. He's the only one. And the people who run our society consider themselves gods, and that's why they're not explaining.
Boy, they do. They don't think they have to.
Oh, I've noticed.
They don't think. I think I was talking to somebody, and they said to me, well, they think they're more than human.
Oh, obviously.
Yeah, I go, they're not even human, because humans care about their environment and their neighbors, and humans care about, other people's children. Of
course.
And humans care about living things.
Yes.
But they don't do any of that. And he goes, because they think they're more than human.
Oh, I noticed.
They
That's why they
think
want to
they're
live forever.
royals. They think they're like royals in a rarefied sphere of DNA or something above us. Like, did they come from another planet? When you hear people talk, I can't either. But
this is the podcast to speculate on it, though.
well, because some people say, a lot of religious people, they're into some deep rabbit holes of things, and I don't know anything.
Well, you can see why they are, though. I mean, speaking for myself, I have no idea what's going on. I don't know if this is the Nephilim, right?
I was going to say.
I don't.
I know.
Here we go.
That's what I said.
No. Let me just say. I said I don't know anything about that stuff. Okay, I'm a very ordinary middle-aged man who spent his life following politics and theology, but I do know that whatever's going on is very deep.
Yeah,
I've spent my whole life around politicians and seen decisions get made, interviewed people who run things, and what's happening now is qualitatively different.
All right, so there's that first clip there. So yeah, Roseanne Barr bringing up the Nephilim. There's another one I'll play in a second here.
Grandma Roseanne's voice. It's got that timbre to it.
Yeah.
That timbre to it, just the sweet old lady voice. It is really crazy considering her I don't know, the imprint that her voice has made on an entire generation of people who watched her on television.
Oh yeah, Roseanne. That was always on when I was a kid on the television.
On.
Here's a little bit more of Tucker and Roseanne here.
Well, what are you watching? You're watching someone who hates the truth because it's true. And there's no possible profit motive that is driving that. There's no political end that is driving that. They hate the truth because it's true. Now we're in the realm of theology.
Yeah, we are.
That's all that is. I mean, and I can't possibly explain it, but that's what that is.
So have you heard about Antarctica? Because I always say, in my act,
Have I heard about it? I think it's a continent still, right?
No.
Yeah, but in my act, I go, I don't know which is true anymore. Are we being invaded by the Nephilim from outer space? Or is it true that the Nazis have a whole breakaway continent under the ice in Antarctica?
You haven't heard that one, Tucker?
Which
No, I haven't. So I don't go on the internet very often.
Obviously.
So because it's like the same reason I don't cruise used car lots, because I'd buy them all. I don't know. I don't have the self-control. I haven't heard that. I will say, however, I've done some reading recently on topics that not forbidden or racial or religious, just pure history. Like, what do we know about ancient civilizations?
Uh-huh.
And the answer is like basically nothing.
No.
And the idea
Tartaria, did you read about Tartaria?
No.
Oh,
so I'm a neophyte here. This is like all new to me. I'll just start with the one thing that we do know, which is what we don't know, which is how the pyramids are built. Mm-hmm. And I don't understand how we could send men to the moon, but no one can come up with even a rough theory for how the pyramids are built. Or even what age they are, because we don't know that either, actually.
And they're under the water, too.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, there's pyramids under the water.
But why, can I ask you this, since you know much more of this than I, but why is there such institutional resistance to acknowledging that we don't know certain things?
Because we do know.
Oh, well, I hadn't thought about that. Ooh.
Yeah. Hello.
Oh.
What kind of crazy world are we living in, Gons? Did you ever think the day would come when Tucker and Roseanne basically do an episode of our podcast?
Talk Nephilim, just slip right into Antarctica.
And what about Antarctica?
Come on.
Yeah, Roseanne, that's what I've been saying.
I know. We have to figure out a way to get like a Nephilim penguin shirt to Roseanne or something. She would wear it on the show. That's a great marketing idea for us.
You know, the Lord opened up doors for us to get Adam Curry on the show. I think Roseanne Barr might be our next get. Who knows?
Yeah, who knows? Yeah,
we gotta get like we have to do something in person though. You gotta have Roseanne in person. Maybe I'll do boots on the ground. I'll go find Roseanne.
She's still in LA, isn't she? She didn't move out, or did she?
I have no idea.
I think she's one of the ones that stayed. Idea. So yeah, she might be in LA. I'll drive up to LA through
I'd rather not go. So
yeah. Okay, so there you go.
Well, here's the thing, folks. It's about time for us to let you go here for today. We apologize for the producers that we have not thanked yet. We got to get Gonzoff to do some dad stuff. It was a later day today. But the art producers, the jingle producers, the remainder of the financial producers, we are going to be thanking you all on Wednesday with the utmost enthusiasm and respect for your participation in the value for value model. And we appreciate everybody coming in, hanging out with us today. A couple of weird technical glitches, of course, but hey, we're used to that now. And stick around because we got great stories coming up on Wednesday. We already have half of the show planned on Wednesday because just so many things happen over the weekend. But we'll keep poking around. Remember, if you want to produce the show with your treasure, you can go to canarycry.support. If you want to make some art for us or some microfictions or a video or something, go to canarycry.art and you can upload it there. And if you have a report, an article you'd like us to consider for an upcoming show, go to canarycry.report. It's easy, folks. Support, art, report.
Whoa. Support, report, art. Art, support, report. I don't know. We got to figure out the thing to do.
Combinations are endless. Yeah. It's incredible. So we will see you on Wednesday, but I do want to run through real quick and make sure we thank some of our producers who have. I want to thank the timestampers is what I want to do, Gon.
I thought it was a Clippies, but do you want it? No, we're doing timestampers.
We're cutting time. We're going. Timestamp.
It's hard work. Timestamp.
That's right. The timestampers, so helpful. Thank you to the timestampers. They timestamp the show, oftentimes live, and it's a huge part of our back end. The timestamps not only have been convenient for people who want to jump around through the shows, but without the timestampers, we would not have won several YouTube appeals to being banned. We use the timestamps all the time to pull up stories from previous episodes that fit in with an update and getting our Red Book predictions, all sorts of stuff. These timestamps are invaluable, and I'd like to thank our timestamper from last episode,
Jade Bouncerson.
What?
Jade Bouncerson was the timestamper.
Jade Bouncerson, yeah. Thank you for your faithfulness and your grace. And remember, folks, you can send us links. Thank you, Jam, for the links. Thank you, Clank, for clanking. Clank. And other than that, share the show, folks. Share the show with your friends, with your family, with your dog, with your dog's family. You know what? It's not very often we share stuff with our dog's family. You know,
that's true.
So give it a try, and share the show, whatever makes sense. If you want to email it to a friend, print it out on some in papyrus, and put it in a bottle and throw it in the ocean, whatever. You know, the normal stuff. But you can also do it in kind of an abnormal way. Use the talents and the gifts that the Lord has blessed you with. Perhaps you are like Kissinger and you have some deep thoughts about AI, and so you want to upload your consciousness to the AI, but instead of then manifesting as some sort of death AI, helping to, you know, spill the blood of people far and wide, you can use your uploaded consciousness to jump into the Apple Podcasts AI or the YouTube algorithm. Go ahead and do that. Just upload yourself to the YouTube algorithm. You're floating around the internet anyways, and go ahead and just loosen up those knobs. Just loosen up the knobs on the YouTube algorithm to let Canary Cry News Talk get shared. Because I'll tell you what, it's not happening now. Those knobs are tight. So that would be very helpful. Whatever you do, just remember, we call it rattling cages. And all you got to do is walk right up to them, grab them by the cage, and then you shake it.
The end of the world occurred pretty much as we had predicted.
I want to shake things up, stir up some controversy, rattle a few cages.
Hey, stop that!
You'll never silence me. I'm the last angry man, a crusader for the little guy.
Leave the bird alone!
Never! Rattle a few cages. Rattle a few cages.
The human race will have every opportunity to improve.
And if they don't?
Ask Noah.
That's right. Just ask Noah. And Gons, nobody's going to believe this, but I promise I did. This is not a plant. We had JCS in the Rumble chat ask, where can we sign up for the Babysitters Club? And boy, oh boy, am I glad you asked, JCS. Just head on over to canarycrybabysittersclub.com. canarycrybabysittersclub.com. Notice how there's no babies screaming in this episode? Wasn't that nice? Wouldn't you like that to happen again? Well, you can help it happen often by joining the Canary Cry Babysitters Club. We did have to shut down the show a little early today because of babysitting issues, but this is just the beginning. The more people who go to canarycrybabysittersclub.com and sign up, the more free we will be from the tyranny of the children.
The tyranny of the children.
Just think about it, folks. Think about it. canarycrybabysittersclub.com. All right. Gons, you got any last words?
Just a quick thank you to Jonathan F., Marius and B Dubs, Sir Dove Knight of Respeltia, Pizza Rat, Sir Darren, and Caleb, Runk Smash, Stefan S., and Jolms. We'll thank you properly on Wednesday. I feel
artists.
bad, but yeah, the artists. So,
yeah,
there you
we
go.
got a lot of artists to thank, and we got a bunch of producers to thank too, a bunch of financial producers. So thank you all. And if you want me to scream about how you're the most important person in the world, go sign up for the Canary Cry Babysitters Club. Thank you very much. And thanks for listening to this episode of Canary Cry News Talk. I would suggest that you listen next time, right here, same place, different time. But until then, think outside the cage.
Remember, reality is an illusion. The universe is a hologram. Buy gold. Buy!
Necro-capitalism.
Profiteers of death. spirit is good. Lead me into the land of uprightness.
Value for value. We take no money from corporations, commies, or cartels.
Canary cried, that's a poem. Bye, bye, bye.